Welcome to another chapter of the Resident Evil timeline. Last time I covered Capcom's first attempt at releasing a first-person Resident Evil game with Survivor. After the destruction of Raccoon City, government agent Leon S. Kennedy sent his friend and private investigator Art Thompson into the Umbrella-run island of Sheena. In a panic, the Umbrella commander in charge unleashed the T-Virus and another city was destroyed in an outbreak. After surviving his way through and defeating the Hypnos tyrant, Art Thompson successfully escaped with 2 children. And this time I'll be chronicling the events of Code Veronica, taking place a month after Survivor, and I'll be using elements of Code Veronica X and the Dark Side Chronicles. How is Umbrella faring in its battle to convince the law of its innocence? And what threat does the new T-Veronica Virus pose to the world? But before I get started, please allow me to introduce today's sponsor, the documentary series In Search of Darkness, the ultimate celebration of horror. The newest collection will be covering the years 1995 through 1999, the second half of the 90s, and it features the greatest lineup of 90s horror stars, meta-slashers, the explosion of Japanese horror, and much more. Make sure you grab yourself a copy using my link in the description below. It does go a long way in supporting this channel, plus you get a killer documentary and your name in the credits. Orders close at midnight on Halloween, so check it out before it's too late.
What are you waiting for?
It is time to get seriously scared.
Welcome
To my world.
The 90s.
Welcome to Oblivion.
The world was shifting in various ways.
And then carnage.
Woo!
the whole machine changes.
It's kind of a carnival atmosphere.
It was a very, very exciting time.
Look at me, I'm Leatherface!
Why does that look so familiar?
Barbie, eat your heart out.
And I'd like to give a big shout out to my Patreon members. Your continued support keeps these videos coming. If you'd like your name up here to get access to exclusive sneak peeks, progress updates, and watch my videos before everyone else, go to patreon.com/GamerThumbTV or click the link in the description to get started. Without support from viewers like you, my content creation journey would simply not be possible. Thank you. Now let's get started. In 1998, the popularity of the Resident Evil series could not be ignored. The one survival horror game now had an insanely successful sequel that solidified Resident Evil as a gamer household name. But what came after the success of Resident Evil 2? What would be the sequel to the story of Leon and Claire? Some might immediately say Resident Evil 3 Nemesis because it has a 3 in the title, but the true answer is a little bit more complicated than that. Late 1998 Capcom was in an era of Resident Evil expansion. Now that the series had proven its success with 2 mainline games, it was time to spread development across the gaming landscape of various consoles. The idea for Code Veronica originated thanks to a failed Sega port and the limitations of the Sega Saturn. Capcom was interested in porting Resident Evil 2 to the Saturn, but producer Shinji Mikami learned that the port would need to make some substantial sacrifices to the original product. Capcom decided to instead create something new, and they wanted the presence of Resident Evil on the Sega Saturn. In the early stages of this new game's development, Capcom's subsidiary Flagship was responsible for creating the story and the concept art of the new Sega Resident Evil game. The story they started developing was completely different than what we received in the final product. Originally, it starred Jill Valentine after the events of Raccoon City, investigating Umbrella in Europe. The backstory of Umbrella and its founders was set to be explored, the origins of the progenitor virus, something explored later in Resident Evil 0, and the villains, Hilbert and Hilda Kruger, were the children of a Nazi officer that escaped Germany during World War II. He settled on an island and formed his family, and they also had a butler that fought alongside their father during the war. Umbrella uniforms would have had inspiration from the Kruger family's Nazi roots. Wesker was set to reappear with a logo on his uniform that identified the new company he worked for, the World's Xenobiological Company, WXC. New monsters were being planned left and right, and even a new tyrant with a mechanical heart, which was an idea that was reimagined years later for Nemesis in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Development on the game was taking longer than expected, and Capcom had concerns about the game's technical quality on the Saturn, while the development team was asking for more time. Thankfully, Sega did have a much more powerful console on the horizon in the form of the Dreamcast. Development was cancelled for the Sega Saturn Resident Evil, and the game was instead being created as a Sega Dreamcast exclusive. As a result of the extra development time and the Dreamcast's more powerful resources, the Sega Resident Evil changed drastically, and many story ideas changed with it. Instead of the Nazi-inspired Krugers, the English-inspired Ashfords took their place due to concerns about how the idea of the Krugers would have been received in European regions. Even the uniforms were changed to reflect more European aristocracy. The logo on Wesker's uniform was removed, keeping the mysterious organization he worked for secret. To this very day, it still has not been named, other than Umbrella's rival company or the organization. Multiple monsters imagined have yet to resurface in future Resident Evil games. There's a lot of them that just didn't show up. The butler that fought with the Nazi father during World War II was removed, but still lives on in the form of a file found in the game, written from the point of view of a family butler. Around the same time frame the Dreamcast game was being developed, Capcom was juggling multiple sequels at the same time, one being a PlayStation side story starring Jill, taking place side by side with Resident Evil 2. This game would ultimately become Nemesis, and Jill was dropped from the Sega game in favor of Claire Redfield. And this is where the idea of a true sequel becomes complicated. Nemesis was always seen by Capcom as a side story game, while the Sega game would be a mainline entry follow-up to the Resident Evil 2 story. Claims are rampant around the internet that the Dreamcast game was supposed to be called Resident Evil 3. Producer Shinji Mikami has even been credited with saying that Code Veronica deserved to be a numbered title. Through multiple YouTube video essays, social media posts, internet forums, you'll find claims that it wasn't considered Resident Evil 3 due to a variety of reasons. Political reasons inside the company, background deals with Sony. One of the most popular claims is that Capcom decided that Resident Evil games on the PlayStation would be numbered, while other consoles would get subtitled games. But that theory dies once you look at Resident Evil Outbreak and Dead Aim, both PlayStation Resident Evil titles that are not numbered. Not to mention that at the time of release, Nintendo exclusive Resident Evil 4, a numbered title not on PlayStation. I suspect that all these claims are just internet stories that weren't very well researched, because I can't find any official sources that back up any of them as the reason that Code Veronica was not Resident Evil 3. To set the record straight, although it does progress the story of Resident Evil 2, Code Veronica was never intended to be Resident Evil 3. In fact, the only reason that Nemesis ended up with a 3 in the title is because it inherited it from a different cancelled project intended to be Biohazard 3 that starred Hunk on a cruise ship. That game was cancelled, and they stuck the 3 on Nemesis. That's all there is to it. Moving development to the Dreamcast, though, was an excellent move for Code Veronica. The higher power of the console allowed for more polygon counts, which results in much more detailed zombies, complete with twitching eyes, moving jaws. During the fall of 1999, the game was shown off with a playable demo at the Tokyo Game Show, but development took much longer than expected, and continuous delays pushed the game's release date further out than originally intended. In order to make up for the delay, Capcom announced that they would release a Dreamcast port of Resident Evil 2, which also included a demo of Code Veronica. Many developers within Capcom were busy finishing Resident Evil 3, so Capcom had to outsource talent in order to complete Code Veronica. Flagship was responsible for the game's direction and story, the Japanese CG animation studio, XIX Entertainment was brought on board to assist with environments, Nex Entertainment handled technical development, Capcom Production Studio 4 handled art direction and character design, and Sega themselves sent some of its own developers to help with final programming touches on the game. Code Veronica had become a group effort across multiple companies. From February to May in the year 2000, Code Veronica finally released across the US, Japan, and Europe. Pre-ordered copies came with a numbered tag, red packaging, and an exclusive title screen, and Sega produced limited edition consoles in celebration of its release. A red Claire Redfield bundle limited to 1,800 units, and a Blue Stars version limited to 200 units. Unfortunately, no amount of hype could improve the difficult situation that Sega found themselves in. The Dreamcast was already struggling with low sales, and the upcoming release of Sony's PlayStation 2 created fierce competition in the console market. Code Veronica still managed to pull through, with about 450 250,000 copies sold in the US, and over 1 million worldwide. By Dreamcast standards, the numbers are fairly strong, but low compared to other games in the series outside of Sega. The writing was on the wall. Resident Evil couldn't survive long-term on the Dreamcast. And by the year 2001, the Dreamcast was officially dead and all production on the console stopped. But Code Veronica was given a second chance at life on the PlayStation 2 with Code Veronica X. The game was mostly kept the same, with the exception of several changes and improvements. It added multiple aspects that didn't have time to make it in the Dreamcast version, several graphical improvements. Steve Burnside's character model was changed, including his hairstyle, and about 10 extra minutes of new cinematic sequences that detailed Wesker's involvement in the story were added.
Whoa, what power!
And as a pre-order bonus, a DVD called Wesker's Report was included, in which you hear Wesker's side of the story up to that point in the Resident Evil plot. The definitive version of the game, been re-released on multiple consoles, and even remastered on the 360, the version you'll be seeing in this video. And although the original version died with the Dreamcast, Code Veronica still became a core part of Resident Evil's legacy, resulting in a novel adaptation written by S.D. Perry, a comic book miniseries by DC Comics' Wildstorm line. Its events have been retold in different scenarios across the game Resident Evil Survivor 2, Code Veronica, and the Darkside Chronicles. So what's the story found in Code Veronica? Why is Claire once again in a situation where she's at risk of being eaten by monsters? And what Umbrella Corporation secrets does it reveal? Let's find out in the Resident Evil Timeline Part 8, Long Live the Queen. November 1998, private investigator Ark Thompson and 2 survivors escaped Sheena after the entire island and its population were destroyed by the T-Virus outbreak caused by Umbrella Commander Vincent Goldman. As Umbrella's Tyrant mass production plant exploded, Ark was also able to destroy the experimental Hypnos T-type Tyrant. Once he returned to the U.S., he reported back to his friend, Agent Leon S. Kennedy of the U.S. Stratcom Anti-Umbrella Division with his findings. Leon collected his evidence and ensured that Lot and Lily, the 2 surviving Klein children, were placed in a safe environment. While much of the world and news media were focused on the aftermath of Raccoon City, Sheena Island was yet another disaster that would continue Umbrella's death spiral. The Tyrant factory on Sheena was an extremely valuable asset. Umbrella's public reputation was in shambles, and the U.S. government was preparing to begin the Raccoon trials, a series of lawsuits against Umbrella and the criminal prosecution of the company and its leadership. Meanwhile, elements of the U.S. government that were aware of Umbrella's true experiments rushed to cover up any of their involvement with the company. Umbrella would receive full blame over Raccoon City, and chaos was slowly consuming the suffering organization. Oswald Spencer, the only surviving member of Umbrella's founders and president of the Umbrella Corporation, hired an expert team of lawyers and began using tactics to fuel anti-government conspiracy theories in preparation for the Raccoon trials, including the use of bribery, intimidation, and fake witnesses. The command structure of Umbrella's leadership was crumbling, with confusion over who to answer to, erratic behavior from executives who were unsure if they'd be implicated legally, black markets forming from employees abandoning and stealing from the company, and legitimate employees that weren't aware of Umbrella's true dealings were leaving in droves, assisting in the creation of several anti-Umbrella groups. And multiple facilities containing bioweapons and experimental T-virus strains were struggling with maintaining security. About a month later, in December of 1998, Leon S. Kennedy continued uncovering and investigating multiple Umbrella facilities that were losing control of their experiments. He was also helping Claire Redfield continue her search for her brother, Chris Redfield. He made sure to wipe his trail clean to keep anyone from following. He was busy in Europe investigating Umbrella alongside Jill Valentine and Barry Burton. The last piece of information that Leon uncovered was that Chris may have been somewhere in Paris. He uncovered one of Umbrella's largest labs and passed on the information to Claire. Then she armed herself and rushed to infiltrate the Paris facility where the Nemesis Tyrant was created. But Umbrella was ready. They were aware that STARS members survived Raccoon City and were somewhere in the region, so security was on full alert, and given authorization to stop intruders by any means necessary.
Don't move.
Claire's plan to find Chris failed, but she was alive. Claire Redfield was now a prisoner of the Umbrella Corporation, designated prisoner WKD-4496, and she was taken to their Rockfort Island facility. Rockfort Island served multiple purposes for Umbrella. It was originally an island in the South Pacific Ocean that was populated by Spanish settlers, and they formed small communities over time. But Umbrella desired a private space for their uses and took over the island. They forced out the native population and built a military training center around the old church, BOW and virus testing labs, a prison to hold their enemies, and a private residence for executives. By 1993, the facility was completed, and a low-ranking Umbrella executive whose family was tied to Umbrella's history, Alfred Ashford, took over as Rockfort Island's commander. And it was said that his twin sister, Alexia Ashford, who hadn't been seen publicly for a long time, shared his power. But the rule of the Ashfords wouldn't last long. Soon after Claire arrived as a prisoner, Rockfort Island was attacked by an unknown group.
I feel like this year may be special. Don't you, Alexia? It's almost like there's something I'm forgetting.
My dear Alfred, please be easy on yourself. Why don't you set down your burdens and play a game with me?
You're right, Alexia. Since you've come back, I've never been this happy.
Damn it! Which way?
Go on. Get out of here. This place is finished.
Rodrigo Juan Raval, the USS operative that captured Claire in the Paris facility, let her go. Rodrigo was a native of Rockfort Island, descended from the original Spanish settlers that lived there, and only worked for Umbrella because he lost his family and took a USS job to fill his time. For now, he was too injured to leave and needed time to recover. He knew the island was compromised and had no desire to see Claire left abandoned in a cell. When Claire made it outside, she realized the devastating outcome of the attack, and nightmares from her past re-emerged. Rockfort Island's labs held a strain of T-Virus, and it was free. Just like in Raccoon City, an army of the undead was quickly spreading, and her prison cell was near the graveyard. The T-Virus doesn't reanimate the dead, but Umbrella filled the cemetery with test subjects that were previously infected and buried alive. After narrowly escaping with her life, Claire met Steve Burnside, another prisoner that escaped from his cell.
Wait, don't shoot!
Who are you?
Huh? You're not a zombie. Well, great. Wait right there. I'm coming over. Sorry about that little misunderstanding, but I thought you were another one of those monsters.
Shut up. Make one wrong move and I'll shoot.
Relax, beautiful. I said I was sorry. My name's Steve. I was a prisoner on this island. And I'm guessing you're not from Umbrella either.
No, I'm Claire. Claire Redfield.
Claire? Nice.
Steve was on Rockfort Island long enough to know that it held an airport that transported Umbrella personnel on and off of it, and he left to discover its location while Claire set out for answers on her own. The area was swarming with infected in prison uniforms, and Umbrella's crimes were on full display. In recent years, the head of the Ashford family, Alfred, had become exceptionally brutal and unhinged. Guillotines were set up for executions of prisoners for the smallest infractions, and anyone that Umbrella deemed a potential danger were taken and imprisoned, as well as their families, from saboteurs from rival companies to employees suspected of betrayal. If prisoners weren't executed, it was likely they'd be pulled for viral testing or experimentation by the island's doctor, then cremated. The doctor was suffering from untreated schizophrenia and was becoming more sadistic as his condition worsened. Despite his torture of prisoners, Alfred Ashford allowed him to continue his work until he suffered a leg fracture and became infected during the outbreak. While going through the prison area, Claire came upon Steve looking over some of Umbrella's classified files, left open on a computer. They'd been monitoring Chris's activities for some time.
Chris Redfield.
What are you doing here?
Chris Redfield. Is he a relative of yours or something?
You mean my brother?
Ah, your siblings. Well, it seems your brother is under surveillance by Umbrella.
What? I've got to contact Leon and tell him to let my brother know he's being monitored.
Well, that file shows the latitude and longitude of this place. Why don't you send your brother the coordinates and ask him to come help?
Thanks, I'll do that.
Hey, I was just kidding. There's no way he could get here, even if he is your brother.
Yes, he can, I'm sure of it.
Claire finally had confirmation that her brother was still alive and well. Umbrella couldn't quite locate him, but the information they had on him was enough to send to Leon, along with her location. Using Leon's Stratcom connection, surely he can find a way to contact Chris. After the conversation, Steve stormed off angrily. He was a bitter young man that had unresolved family issues, but Claire had no time to focus on them. They had to find the airport off the island, and the number of infected were growing, including the guard dogs left behind. But before she moved on, she wanted to repay Rodrigo for his kindness. She found a batch of hemostatic medicine that can help him with his injury, and returned to check on his condition.
What are you doing here? Hemostatic medicine. How kind of you. Thanks.
Here, let me help you with that.
Thanks, but I can take care of myself. Just go.
Keep it. It was a gift from my brother, but...
Thanks.
The destruction on Rockfort Island blocked any direct path to the airport. Once the prison was behind her, Claire found herself in the training grounds of the Rockfort Island Military Training Center and faced one of the bioweapons Umbrella used to train its paramilitary forces, the Gulp Worm. The Gulp Worm was no accident. It was a bioengineered BOW created by combining earthworm DNA with the T-Virus. The Gulp Worm was blind, but it can hunt by detecting vibrations on the surface. Claire was nowhere near equipped to handle the creature and ran inside the training center to escape. She may have been safe from the gulpworm for now, but the dangers inside the training center were numerous. Infected Umbrella employees roamed the hallways, and lab experiments began escaping. Creations Umbrella called the Albinoids.
Contamination detected. Level 3. Emergency shutters will close. All personnel evacuate immediately.
The albinoids were made using salamanders injected with the T-Virus, resulting in abnormal accelerated growth and the ability to generate electric shocks that could incapacitate a grown human. Before the outbreak, the training center was populated by UBCS and USS trainees. The legendary USS Soldier Hunk spent much of his time on Rockfort Island training recruits and receiving briefings for upcoming missions. And UBCS mercenaries would have continued training there had it not been for their decimation in Raccoon City. Near the military training center, Claire found the official residence that was once used by governors of the island. Although the training facility was built in the 90s, the Ashford family line had resided there for decades. When Claire entered, she met the crazed Alfred Ashford for the first time.
Dare you interfere with my operation?
What are you talking about?
You let yourself be captured so you could lead your people to this base. You don't fool me. I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Oh? You must be one of Umbrella's lower level officers if you're in command of a backwater base like this one.
How dare you? Who do you work for? Who sent you? Have it your way, then. You're just a rat in a cage anyway. I'll be sure to keep you entertained before I dispose of you.
Alfred was furious that someone attacked his island, and he was convinced that Claire was involved. He governed the island with an increasingly iron fist, and even Umbrella employees on Rockfort could tell he'd been getting worse over the years. While exploring the residence, Claire uncovered much of the Ashford family secrets. They had a long line of aristocracy leading all the way back to a British noblewoman who lived in the 19th century called Veronica Ashford. She was known for her incredible intelligence and her beauty. Her descendants were obsessed with keeping the family line influential and important, rising above all others. Edward Ashford was one of the founding members of Umbrella, and stayed with the company until Oswald Spencer orchestrated his death. Edward's son Alexander Ashford continued working for Umbrella, but he had little expertise in viruses like his father had. Instead, he was an expert in genetic engineering. With the death of his father, the Ashford family's importance was waning, and Alexander was determined to return them to their former glory. But he had no children of his own to carry on the Ashford line. He used his knowledge of genetic engineering to create a superior Ashford child of his own. To create the child, he exhumed the body of his ancestor, Veronica Ashford, then combined her DNA with a gene that he theorized could increase intelligence drastically. It was his way of resurrecting both Veronica and his family name. But the experiment had an unintended result. It created two babies, twins that he named Alfred and Alexia. He raised the children as his own and claimed their mother had died. The children grew extremely close, and it was impossible to separate them. As they got older, their differences became more apparent. Alfred's intelligence was considered only slightly above average, but Alexia was a child prodigy with incredible intellect, even being hired by Umbrella as a chief researcher at the age of 10. Alfred, on the other hand, was mostly thrown aside due to his average nature and given small, unimportant roles within the company to keep them satisfied. One day, the children snuck into a locked laboratory and learned the truth behind their birth. When the siblings learned that they were just lab experiments, the mental cracks began forming in Alfred, and his sanity began deteriorating. Armed with the knowledge of the Ashford family lineage, Claire continued moving through the residence and training facility while Alfred toyed with her, hunting her for sport with his rifle, while Steve was fighting his way through the zombie hordes looking for any information on the airport's location. But Alfred had no intention of actually hitting Claire. He was leading her towards more bioweapons for his own entertainment, the Bandersnatches.
Welcome, Claire. Consider the area you are in a special playground I have prepared just for you. Please try and keep me amused, and do not disappoint me by dying too soon. I so want to enjoy this.
The Bandersnatches were failed experiments Umbrella created on Rockfort Island. They were intended to be part of the multiple tyrant projects, but humans with compatible genes needed to be successfully turned into tyrants were rare. Tyrants were also very expensive to produce, so a cheaper alternative was sought. The cheaper biological materials used and more cost-effective procedures resulted in creatures that were nowhere near as durable or deadly as an actual tyrant. Steve discovered that a secret underwater passageway near the residence led to the airport. Together, they left to find it, and a tragic distraction would delay their exit.
Don't worry, Claire. Your knight in shining armor is here.
You wish. But thanks for the help.
See? This is why you need me. I got your back.
Whatever.
Are you okay?
Steve, behind you!
No.
What's wrong, Steve? Shoot him!
Wait! I can't! No!
Steve! No! Ah!
Father! Ah! Father! Father! Father!
The zombie that attacked them happened to be Steve's father. He knew his father was gone, but he had no choice but to end him. Steve's father was previously employed by Umbrella. He was stealing information from the company and selling it to the highest bidder. He was caught, and as punishment, he was taken prisoner with Steve after Steve's mother was executed. The young man held a ton of anger towards his father for putting his family in that situation, but he still loved him. Claire decided to leave Steve temporarily to give him time to mourn his father. She re-entered the official residence and found a hidden passageway leading to a mysterious mansion out in the woods. This was the private residence of Alfred and Alexia Ashford. It was built in 1994 under the orders of Alfred as a private home for himself and his sister. But rumors began spreading of the private relationship between Alfred and Alexia. Alfred was seen regularly, but Alexia hadn't been seen in some time. Some reported to see her appearing outside the window at times, but made no public appearances. Alfred's own secretary, Robert Dawson, questioned Alfred about Alexia, and Alfred had him locked away in the prison. Alfred was enraged that he was questioned and banned anybody from visiting the mansion in order to protect Alexia. He even went as far as murdering all the workers that created the pathways leading to the mansion. Once Claire entered, she found a disturbing sight. An enormous doll was hanging from the ceiling that looked like Alexia Ashford, with statues and candles in the area, almost as if it were set up as a site of worship. And just on the other side, the mysterious Alexia Ashford made her appearance.
Oh, why is this taking so long?
My apologies, Alexia, but I have been doing my best.
The revival of the Ashford family depends on your success, brother.
I am aware of that, Alexia. I will revive the family name myself and make you the master of the glorious Ashford family.
Do not worry, brother. I will handle them both myself. Who is there? Is someone at the corridor?
It sounded like the Ashfords were becoming suspicious that someone was listening in, so Claire left to go collect Steve and head towards the passageway to the airport. And unknown to Claire, she was being followed by a ghost, returned from the dead.
You must be the lovely Claire Redfield.
Who are you?
Let's just say that I'm a ghost, coming back to haunt your dear brother.
Wesker?
It seems there's not much explaining to do, is there? I was the one who attacked this island. Who'd have thought you'd be hanging about? All the better for me. Now that the cat dragged in this nice surprise, your ever so caring brother will definitely show up. I must thank you for being such good bait.
I don't know what went on between you two, but you have him all wrong. My brother is not the kind of person you think he is.
I despise Chris.
What are you gonna do to him?
Oh, how your brother will weep to see you die. What? What is it? Stay there. I'm coming. It appears you may be of some further use to me. I'm going to let you live a little longer.
Wesker recognized Claire as Chris's sister. She was completely unaware of the situation in the Spencer mansion and the conflict that ensued between Chris and Wesker, but she was shocked to experience how unbelievably strong Wesker was, almost inhuman. Wesker could have easily taken revenge by hurting Claire further, but for now she'd be a useful guinea pig in his plans. He was on Rockfort Island searching for someone in particular, and was responsible for the attack that unleashed the T-Virus. Since he'd become employed by Umbrella's rival organization, Wesker was placed in charge of their USS equivalent, the Host Capture Force, the HCF. The organization wanted Umbrella's secrets, and Wesker was using them to play multiple self-serving angles. Wesker and his HCF were also collaborating with the notorious criminal syndicate, the Connections, on the side. For now, Claire had no answers when it came to Albert Wesker. She suspected the Ashford private residence could hold a clue to the airport's location and headed back, hoping that Alfred and Alexia had left already. But the connection between Alexia and Alfred was far more complicated than she could have ever imagined.
Claire Redfield, hold it right there. We meet each other at last. A pity I must say goodbye so soon. I am Alexia Ashford. For the pride of the Ashford family, I will kill you!
What's going on?
Steve! A secret door!
After her!
This must be...
What? No!
Wait a second. What just happened?
So there never was an Alexia after all.
You mean he thinks he's two people? Okay, that's it. Let's get out of here.
The self-destruct system has
That
been
freak!
activated.
He's trying to blow us up along
All
with the entire
personnel
facility.
evacuate.
Steve and Claire chased Alexia through the secret doorway and found Alexia's hair and dress removed. Alfred's secret was revealed, and in a panic, he activated the Rockfort Island self-destruct mechanism. Steve discovered the submarine near the residence that led to the airport, and the pair rushed there before it was too late. As far as the Ashfords, there was no Alexia. At the age of 12, Alexia Ashford disappeared from public life suddenly, and she was declared dead, leaving Alfred alone. Through the years, he suffered from a split personality and convinced himself that Alexia was still with him. All the sightings of her on the island since then were simply Alfred wearing a wig and her clothing. Without his sister in his life, his mind shattered. While Steve and Claire rushed through the underwater passageway to the airport, Alfred left through a secret exit. He wanted to ensure that Claire and Steve paid for revealing his secret, and he unleashed the T-078 Tyrant, a clone T-103 that was grown without the use of a power limiter. It was previously delivered to Rockfort Island from another facility by the USS Agent Hunk under the orders of Alfred Ashford. The Tyrant was meant to test the various mutations a T-103 would go through under close observations, one being a claw hand that can act as a powerful battering ram. After unleashing the T-078, Alfred made his way down below a tank to a secret hangar bay so he could escape before Rockfort's destruction, and both the Tyrant and Albert Wesker followed Claire to a new, even more dangerous destination.
Now you will see what real terror is all about!
Claire!
Open gate 2B for takeoff.
I knew you would lead me to the truth.
Thanks to you, my plan is now back on track. Though you've taken my plane, it will only prove for more entertainment.
Hey! What the? The cargo room hatch is open!
I'll go back and check it out.
What was wrong?
Oh, nothing. Just a giant cockroach that had to be stepped on. What's happening?
I don't know. The plane just changed direction on its own. I can't switch over to manual control.
My apologies, but I cannot let you escape now.
Alfred! You cross-dressing freak!
The T-078 Tyrant was destroyed. Claire and Steve found themselves in a very different location. It was freezing, but they had no control over the plane since Alfred switched on the autopilot function remotely. Once he saw the coordinates of where they were headed, Steve realized that they were over Antarctica, where the surviving employees of Umbrella's Rockfort Island facility had evacuated to just before.
That's the Antarctic. We're over the Antarctic!
What? Hey, those are the seaplanes that left the island right before us.
Then that must mean this place belongs to Umbrella.
Hey, wake up, Steve.
Oh.
The plane crashed violently into the structure, but Claire and Steve were shockingly unharmed. They escaped Rockfort Island with their lives, but now they had to figure out where they were located and contact the outside world for help. Steve set off to find a way out, while Claire attempted to figure out where they were. And her worst fears were confirmed. The infection was also here. Some of the escapees from Rockfort Island were infected and brought the T-Virus with them, showing how quickly an unconfined T-Virus strain could be. The undead walked the cold hallways of Umbrella's Antarctic base, and multiple bioweapons had already grown out of control and escaped. Venomous moths grew to large proportions and were using human bodies to lay eggs in, and took over an entire hallways with their nests. Umbrella also tested the T-Virus on multiple Black Widow spiders that reacted to the T-Virus by growing larger, with no body hair, and they could explode, unleashing an army of infected baby spiders. With Umbrella's current legal problems, the aftermath of both Raccoon City and the loss of their Sheena Island Tyrant Lab, their resources were stretched thin. The Antarctic base had no chance of having a USS Cleaner crew sanitize it. In one of the rooms Claire came across, she found the answer she was looking for. Inside Alfred Ashford's private office. The Antarctic base was built in 1969 out of an abandoned mine by Alfred and Alexia's father, Alexander Ashford. It was designed as a research outpost, complete with a residence, labs, and a transport terminal for bioweapon cargo shipments from various Umbrella labs. Alexia and Alfred were raised under Alexander's care here, until Alfred moved to Rockfort Island in the 90s. Alfred was also responsible for the management of the Antarctic base, but his neglectful leadership left it in disarray. Umbrella employees were at times left behind in the facility for a period of years, without seeing any vacation time, and many workers viewed it as a labor camp. Mysteriously enough, Claire also uncovered that Alexander Ashford had been declared dead, but much like his daughter Alexia, his death wasn't explained anywhere. But Alfred was hiding something even more disturbing in a secret room behind the office. Something was trapped down below. Luckily, it hadn't escaped like all the other bioweapons in the Antarctic base. Claire relayed what she discovered to Steve, and he found a remnant of the base's construction, a digging vehicle that could drill right through to the outside. He attempted to retrieve and activate the vehicle, but due to his carelessness, he broke a valve that released toxic gas in the area. They immediately separated to find a way to shut down the gas and escape safely. Eventually, Claire did find the valve that controlled the gas, but the delay gave Alfred time to finally find his prey.
We're safe now. Think again, Claire.
I shall enjoy watching you shriek in agony. Not this time! You guys!
What was that?
Alfred plummeted into the depths below the base, and the commotion caused the monster hiding below to awaken. It was blind, but it could track its way to the source of the sounds. Claire and Steve powered up the digging vehicle and were able to successfully plow through the nearby wall, which gave away their location immediately. The monster Claire saw earlier was no bioweapon, no tyrant, no accidental mutation. Workers could hear the creature howling in agony through the walls and nicknamed it the Nosferatu. In reality, the Nosferatu was Alexander Ashford himself. After Alfred and Alexia discovered that they weren't his biological children, but simply experimental clones, they developed a deep hatred for their father. The relationship in the Ashford family was becoming strained as Alexander was becoming more and more concerned over his children. They were developing a total disregard for humanity, and Alexia was becoming completely fixated on the creation of a new virus. Alexander began fearing that his children would one day become a danger to the entire world. He hid all the records of the experiments behind the creation of the children and prepared for the possibility that they would one day need to be dealt with. At least he never had the chance to see his children grow into the terrors that he feared. Alfred and Alexia captured their father and used her new virus to experiment on him. He mutated into the Nosferatu, growing spider-like appendages and the ability to spray a toxic purple gas that couldn't be purged out of the human body, and his chest opened up, exposing a large heart, similar to the same flaws some tyrants developed. The man that was once Alexander Ashford was gone. Alexia deemed the experiment a failure, and she was furious that her father was a useless monster she couldn't control. The Ashford children locked him away underneath the base, leaving him tortured with solitude and isolation, screaming in agony for 15 years. If Claire could stop his rampage, at least the tortured father could gain some semblance of peace.
Come on, let's go! What, are you scared?
Hold on. I'll waste that monster and come back.
Claire, forget about me. Run!
I've got you now.
Alexander Ashford was laid to rest, and it seemed like Alfred was no longer a threat. Claire rescued Steve from the ledge, and together they set out to escape the Antarctic base into the unknown. However, the Ashford family threat was only beginning. Alfred Ashford was wounded severely and quickly bleeding out. And unlike her father, Alexia Ashford had secretly been alive for the last 15 years, but in a much different condition. Alfred only had one goal left in this world, to do his sister's bidding and ensure that the world would shine under her glory. It was time for Alexia Ashford to awaken.
Awaken from your slumber and bring forth the great Veronica. Won't forget about this, Claire.
Alexia!
Thanks to the information provided by Claire, Leon was able to use his connections within Stratcom to successfully locate and contact Chris Redfield. He introduced himself and told him that Claire was captured on Rockfort Island. Chris immediately suspended his investigation into Umbrella in Europe and left Barry and Jill behind to handle it in his place. If Claire was in Umbrella's hands, he had to rescue her. He chartered a boat off the coast of South America and headed to Claire's last known destination.
Don't worry, Claire. I'm coming to save you.
I didn't expect to find another living person left on this island. Who are you?
I came here looking for a certain girl.
A girl?
Have you seen anyone named Claire Redfield?
Did you just say Claire?
You know who she is, don't you?
Don't worry about her. I helped her escape. Several planes took off from this island not long ago. While I can't say for certain, she was probably on one of them.
I see. I guess my sister owes you. Thanks for helping me.
Everyone's gone.
This Chris Redfield was a much more experienced soldier after his time in the Spencer Mansion and investigating Umbrella abroad, but he was still a human being deeply affected by the trauma he endured seeing his fellow STARS members decimated and the multiple close calls he had. Although he kept it to himself and attempted to bury it deep within, Chris was beginning to experience the beginning symptoms of deep trauma. The medicine Claire gave Rodrigo helped him survive against the infected workers of Rockfort Island. Unfortunately, Rodrigo couldn't be saved from the deadly gulp worm.
Hold on! Don't give up!
Looks like I can meet my family again. Here. Take this.
What?
She gave this to me as a token of thanks for saving her. I won't need it anymore. Take it.
Another victim of Umbrella's crimes. Before arriving, Chris had no idea that Claire was no longer on Rockfort Island. Had he known, he would have never stepped foot on the island. However, the way back to the boat was collapsed, and the facility was completely destroyed after Alfred activated the self-destruct mechanisms. Collapsed walls blocked multiple pathways, fires raged, and the infected were even more numerous than when Claire was there. In addition to the Umbrella workers, many of Wesker's men in the HCF became infected and joined the ranks of the undead. Chris could tell they wore an umbrella from their military gear, completely different than anything the USS wore. He suspected something larger was at play. Secretly, his greatest enemy was still alive and present on the island.
Was a friendly but naive king who wed a very nasty queen.
Who is that?
The king was loved, but the queen was feared. Till
Alexia? No!
She's already fully awake.
An arrow pierced the kind cold heart.
Chris, oh little fishy, come see my hook. Chris, I'm sending some company to keep you entertained. Consider this a small welcoming gift from me. Enjoy.
What Albert Wesker wanted was Alexia Ashford, and thanks to Claire, he knew where she was. Wesker's blood was boiling when he saw Chris. He carried a deep hatred for his ex-fellow STARS officer for destroying his tyrant, and here he was, risking his plans all over again. The tyrant was immensely important to Wesker since it was the basis for many Umbrella bioweapons. The Nemesis, T-103s, all the variations of Tyrant. It was the perfect specimen to work with. Without the tyrant, Wesker had to resort to stealing other assets and viral strains from Umbrella, making his goals much more difficult to attain. The chance to gain his revenge against Chris was tempting, but Alexia was top priority. To deal with Chris, Wesker unleashed multiple hunters all over Rockfort Island. These hunters were different than the ones Chris faced in the Spencer mansion. These were completely controlled. The new models were designated as the Hunter 2 models. They were developed by the organization, with the Umbrella data and embryos of the Hunter Alphas stolen by Wesker. Their attack power and appearance were similar to the Hunter Alphas, but they were implanted with a receiver that could interpret a frequency emitted from a seeker drone. Once the seeker drone identified a target, the hunters would follow the frequency with pinpoint accuracy to their prey. The Hunter 2 was a perfect companion on the battlefield of bioweapons. Wesker also released variations of his Hunter 2s called Sweepers, designed to sweep through areas for survivors the Hunter 2s may have missed. The Sweepers had different skin color, almost fluorescent, and they were armed with poison claws. Chris made his way through the remnants of the military training center to find an alternate way to escape and came to face with his attacker.
Long time no see, Chris.
Wesker? He's still alive?
You have no idea how much I hate you. You destroyed my plans, so now I've sold my soul to a new organization. Now, die. Here's a little secret, Chris. I figured out that your sister is now in the Antarctic with Alexia. It's too bad you won't be seeing her again.
Alexia?
Wesker had no time to waste. Alexia was awake and he had to get to her before he lost track of her again. Chris would survive their encounter for now, yet he was in pain from the attack, completely unprepared for Wesker's strength. He saw Wesker die with his own eyes, and the mansion his body was in explode. What he didn't know is that the experimental prototype virus Wesker injected himself with bonded with the T-Virus, and the injury from the tyrant activated the mutation that would revive him, complete with superhuman strength, durability, and speed. Chris's resistance against Wesker was amusing, and Wesker let it slip that Claire was in Antarctica. During his investigation of Rockfort Island, Chris learned that Alfred Ashford had a secret hangar with jets pre-programmed with the Antarctic base coordinates. On the way, he faced plenty of dangers, including the albinoids that were released when Claire was on the island, except this one had already fully grown and was equipped with even more intense electric powers that could kill on contact. After slaying the albinoid, Chris continued through the secret hangar and found the jet he was looking for. Thanks to his background with the Air Force, he can easily fly it, and so the journey to Antarctica began.
Hold on, Claire. I'll save you.
Chris infiltrated the Antarctic base and discovered the same thing Claire had. The infection was present and infected were everywhere, but he was well prepared to handle such threats and focused on finding Claire. The trail of destruction was caused by Alexia's awakening. Before her slumber, she'd created a huge plant-like organism hidden underground, and its tentacles had a long reach throughout the entire base. Thanks to Alexia's own experiments, she shared a symbiotic relationship with the plant, directing the tentacles where to attack. Chris knew he was getting close. Claire didn't leave much of a trail behind since she was only there briefly, but Wesker did. His seeker drones were patrolling the area, ready to warn the hunters of Chris's location. And if Wesker was close, that means Alexia had to be as well. If anyone knew where Claire was, Alexia would. During his exploration of the Antarctic base, Chris also found the body of Alexander Ashford, unrecognizable and posed by Alexia. The Black Widow spiders in the base were growing even larger and more dangerous, which also made them a larger, easier to hit target, one major weakness of T-Virus infection. Soon enough, the babies that exploded out of them would grow just as large. Chris wondered how many labs Umbrella secretly had that he had no idea about. In all of his investigation, he never uncovered any details of a prison island in an Antarctic base. But any compromised facility was yet another limb cut off from Umbrella's tree. After taking an elevator to the levels below the ice, Chris discovered one of Alexia's obsessions involving her new virus, the T-Veronica Virus. It was a colossal anthill, and he found the chamber where Alexia was awakened, filled with information on her experiment and Alfred's body. Alexia dreamed of creating a variant of the T-Virus that would allow the host to retain all their brain functions, a challenge that multiple Umbrella researchers faced previously. She began studying ants and discovered a retrovirus inside the DNA of some queens. She became amazed at how fiercely an ant colony respected their queen. As she studied the ants, she began dreaming of one day becoming a queen similar to an ant queen, and the world would be her worker ants, the subjects under her command. Alexia decided that the retrovirus she discovered would give her the tool she needed. She combined elements of the ant retrovirus with plant genes and the progenitor virus the T-Virus was cultivated from. When combined, it created what she called the T-Veronica Virus. She theorized that the resulting Veronica bioweapon would be able to control others and be immensely powerful. When her father was taken, she tested her virus on him and learned that the experiment failed due to the aggressive nature of the virus. If the spread of the virus could be slowed, it would mature, and so she decided to become the second experiment. In order to achieve this goal, she calculated that her body would need to be infected and kept in a cryogenic coma for 15 years to emerge as a god among humans. In 1983, she infected herself and placed Alfred in charge of keeping her safe during her coma. He had the USS Agent Hunk ship her frozen container from Rockfort Island to Antarctica, where she would sleep for over a decade. Then he waited impatiently for the day his sister would return, and he could worship her as queen. Wesker uncovered information on the T-Veronica virus and desired to bring in Alexia, dead or alive, so he can extract samples of it. And inside the Antarctic base, Chris found where Claire was being kept, a structure that would trigger his memories. The residence of the Ashford family, modeled after the Spencer Mansion.
Chris! I missed you so much.
I know. But we have to get out of here.
Not yet. We have to find Steve.
Who's Steve?
He's a boy who escaped from that island with me. But then a monster attacked us and we got separated.
So that means Steve is still somewhere in this base?
I'm sure of it.
It's Alexia!
Alexia? There really is an Alexia?
It is almost time, you genetically inferior siblings.
After her! She might know where Steve is.
Let's go.
Chris!
No! Just go. I'll be fine.
But Chris!
You've got to save Steve. Go!
Claire was safe, alive and well. Alexia was keeping her for future experimentation, and the Redfield siblings were separated again. Chris was a professional, able to recover and handle himself, but Steve was just an inexperienced kid. He was in trouble. Claire had to get to him before it was too late. Alexia took him by force after the attack and threatened to perform the same experiment on him with the T-Veronica Virus that she performed on her own father. Claire rushed to where his screaming came from, only to find more infected and a dungeon where prisoners were kept. Unfortunately, before Claire was even awake, it was too late for Steve. Alexia's experiment had already finished.
Steve?
Oh, Claire.
What's wrong?
Claire! Can't breathe! Claire! Help me! Claire!
Oh, Steve.
You're warm.
Steve, you've got to hang in there, okay? My brother's come to save us. We're getting out of here.
Your brother kept his promise. I'm sorry, I cannot.
What? What are you saying?
I'm glad that I met you.
Claire only knew Steve a short time, but she still felt broken from his death. He'd been with her since she escaped Rockfort Island, and he'd already gone through the trauma of losing his family to Umbrella. He didn't deserve what Alexia did to him, but there was nothing Claire could do for him, no cure that can heal his infection. He was simply gone. She took solace in the fact that Steve stopped himself from killing her. Alexia's experiment couldn't completely wipe out his humanity as she desired. Just as Chris was about to reconnect with Claire, Wesker arrived and Chris stayed hidden. Wesker was dangerously close from attaining his goal of capturing Alexia. However, he didn't anticipate how powerful the T-Veronica Virus had made her.
I found you, Alexia. Come with me. You're responsible for the creation of the T-Veronica Virus. And now the only existing sample is in your body. I want it. Now!
You want it? You are not worthy of its power!
You're coming with me. Chris! Wesker. Go! Chris, since you're one of my best men, I'll let you handle this.
Alexia was pleased that she was able to test her new powers on this stranger. The T-Veronica Virus gave her body enhanced strength and durability, but most dangerously, her blood became a biological chemical that could spontaneously combust when it came into contact with oxygen. Her own blood became a deadly, fiery weapon. She also theorized that T-Veronica still held many evolved forms that could only be reached under physical duress, so she allowed Chris to pump several bullets into her body. She would withstand the pain if it meant reaching the pinnacle of human evolution. Chris believed Alexia was down for now. He'd seen how unpredictable Umbrella's monsters were, and had to get Claire and get out of the facility quickly. When he reached Claire, she was locked in the dungeon with Steve. He was regretful that the young man couldn't be saved in time, and Claire slipped him a file with the activation code for the Antarctica base's self-destruct sequence. The activation code was Veronica. Once the self-destruct countdown began, all locked doors would open, and Claire would be able to escape with Chris. What Alexia failed to factor into her plans was her father's interference. Before his infection, he prepared for this very outcome. Alexander feared his daughter's ambitions so much that he left a recording behind and designed a weapon capable of vaporizing an out-of-control bioweapon, the plasma-based linear launcher. Alexander shared many of Umbrella's ambitions, but he didn't want to see the world destroyed like his daughter did.
This facility will detonate in 5 minutes. All doors are now unlocked.
You made it!
Of course. Come on, let's get out of here.
What are we gonna do?
Okay, turn the key clockwise simultaneously on 3.
Got it.
One, 2, 3.
super busy. Just go for the emergency elevator.
Chris, but...
I can take care of this. Just go.
You have to make it. Don't die on me.
If you are seeing this message, that can only mean that Code Veronica has reached a critical stage. The year is 1983, and I am afraid that my only daughter has become obsessed with the Veronica virus. She has even got to the point of experimenting on her own body. My daughter dreams of unleashing this thing into the world. This last step is the only way I can think of to help her. Whether you are on Umbrella's side or not, please help her.
Move.
Claire! No!
Thanks to the efforts of Alexander Ashford, Alexia's ambitions were destroyed, and she was annihilated. Nothing was left behind for Wesker to collect. But Chris's actions didn't disrupt Wesker's plans much. In fact, it made his mission much easier. Alexia proved too difficult to capture, and Steve's body had enough of the T-Veronica virus in it to extract as a viable sample. Now all Wesker needed to do before leaving was claim his revenge against Chris, before the base's destruction.
Claire!
Today's a good day. I came for Alexia, but killing you is even better.
Sorry to disappoint you, but Alexia is gone.
That's no longer a concern to me. I have Steve to work with.
What?
Steve. In his body, there's still a living T-Alexia virus. Steve should be a good specimen. Maybe he'll come back alive just as I did, and be able to see your sister again.
You freak!
Don't you touch him!
I'm sorry, dear heart, but my men have already taken him.
You get out of here, Claire.
But what about...
As a surviving member of STARS, I have to finish this.
Remember your promise.
Anymore. But just look at the power I've gained.
The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel evacuate immediately. The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel evacuate immediately.
Chris, where are you?
Hey, you know that I always keep my promises.
Chris, look.
Yeah, I know.
Join me next time for the Resident Evil Timeline Part 9, Operation Starlight. Umbrella's legal troubles continue 2 years after Raccoon City, and the company's stolen assets continue to end up in the wrong hands. A civil war breaks out in the country of Penemistan, and as US forces supply boots on the ground, they encounter one of the first uses of bioweapons on the battlefield. And an underground anti-Umbrella group uncovers illegal bioweapon shipments operating from cruise ships. Stratcom agent Leon S. Kennedy is sent on to the luxury cruise liner Starlight to investigate reports of an escaped bioweapon, but he stops reporting in. X-Star's hero Barry Burton is sent in to find him, stop the bioweapon threat, and determine its connection to a young girl named Lucia.